All right, for this video, I wanted to address a topic I've covered briefly in the past, but I also wanted to address it again because it is so very important. And I just read a recent study which also makes it all that much more important for taxpayers to hear. So the issue is, who needs to file a Form 1040 tax return? In my opinion, every single taxpayer in the U.S. should be filing, even in cases where you don't owe any tax and you otherwise wouldn't have to file a Form 1040 tax return. And so what I'm going to get into with this video and the information on this slide is why that is highly recommended that taxpayers file. So we're in the 2022 tax season. These are 2021 Form 1040s that need to be filed on or before April 18th, 2022. Okay, so what are the issues we're seeing so far? Well, every tax season has the same problems. We're seeing delays in returns being processed. A lot of taxpayers filed in January, early Feb, and they maybe just started to get their refunds in March. Some are still waiting. A lot of taxpayers are seeing the refunds adjusted, and they're being adjusted downward. So you're filing a return, the tax prep software or whatever service you're using says you get X amount back, and then the amount that's actually deposited into your return is much less. So now you're figuring out what happened. Let's talk about why you should always be filing. So in my opinion, again, like I stated before, everybody should be filing, and there's a number of reasons for that. One big reason is to protect yourself against identity theft, right? So what a lot of people aren't realizing is that there are fraudsters that are stealing your identity. They're not taking your credit card number. They're stealing your name and your social security number, and they are filing tax returns, fraudulent tax returns on your behalf to claim refunds and credits that you're otherwise available to take. Okay, so if you don't file your return first, you leave it open to a scammer to steal your identity, file that return fraudulently on your behalf, and then take any money that you might be due. The other big reason why taxpayers need to be filing is because even if you don't owe any tax, you might be leaving money on the table. What do I mean by that? Well, there are a lot of programs where there are refundable tax credits available to taxpayers even if their tax liability is zero. Okay, so the big ones that we see year to year are the child tax credit and the earned income tax credit. So the earned income tax credit, the child tax credit, if you qualify for these, you will generally be able to get a check cut by the IRS even if you didn't already owe any money, right? So it's money in your pocket. Is a good thing to have. Now, the survey data here I have in the middle is what was alarming to me, and which is why I need to continue to encourage people to file their return. So the Urban Institute did this survey, and what they found, and they were asking specifically taxpayers that received or were eligible for the child tax credit. So what they found was that when they did this polling data, 2% of families that had children that received advanced child tax credit payments, remember those are the payments that started in July 2021. So July 2021 through December 2021, you got an advance payment. 2% of those families decided that they will not be filing a Form 1040. Here's why that's a huge problem. The advance piece was only roughly half of the credit that you're actually going to be due. You have to file a tax return to claim the remaining half. If you don't file, then you're losing out on that other one half of the amount of money that you're going to be due for each qualifying child. The second piece of data there, 14% of families who did not see advanced CTC payments will not be filing a tax return either. So those are the individuals that either opted out of the advance credit or they just weren't available for it because they didn't think they qualified for it yet, and they decided, well, I'm not going to submit a return for the advance payment. So who would fall into this category? If you had a child in 2021, you're going to be this second bullet point there. Because you had a child in 2021, the government didn't know that your child existed yet, right? Because you didn't have them last year. So you might not have gotten an advanced child tax credit, but you had a child born in 2021. So that means that you might have a qualifying child in 2021, which means you can file a 1040 for 2021 and get the child tax credit. right? So again, you're leaving a lot of money on the table by not filing. And then the last piece there, 1 in 4 families with children under the age of 18, where the family collectively had income below the poverty level, are not going to file a Form 1040. These are the similar issues for these 2 bullet points above, right? If you're a low-income taxpayer and you have children that are qualifying children, you most certainly will likely qualify for the child tax credit. And if you have some earned income, because you are working, you'll likely get the earned income tax credit as well, okay? Amongst perhaps a number of other programs that might be available depending on your circumstances. So very, very important to file, right? So the mistake I'm seeing a lot of taxpayers make is this bullet point right here. Many families will mistakenly believe, well, I didn't make enough money, so I don't have to file. And that's kind of true, right? If your income is below the standard deduction, you don't owe any tax, you don't have to file. The problem, though, again, is even if you don't owe any tax, you still might be eligible for federal tax credits, right? And so if we look at our example here, we have a married couple living in Florida, and they have 2 kids, so ages 4 and 11. Now, one spouse works full-time, the other is part-time. Collectively, the couple is going to earn $24,100 during the year, and they're going to file, or they could be filing, a joint tax return. Now, when they file a joint tax return as married filing joint, the standard deduction is $25,100. So in this example, the $25,100 exceeds their total income. So in other words, based on this information alone, they would owe no tax, right? They owe 0 in federal income taxes. But if they filed, they might still be able to get child tax credits, right? So, and the child tax credit is $3,600 per child that's under 6, and then $3,000 for children over that age. So there are thousands of dollars that are left on the line here if you're not filing a return. Okay, so the last bullet point, what if you can't afford to hire a tax return preparer or pay for the tax software yourself? Now, obviously, there's a lot of people in this position, right? If you're only making, 20 some odd thousand, $30,000 a year, it costs a lot of money to hire a tax preparer. So if you can't afford one, you can prepare your own. The IRS has e-file free programs available through a number of partnerships. So in other words, the IRS didn't develop their own software, but they partnered up with other tax return preparer software platforms to have a low cost or a free option. So if you need to prepare a return, which again I recommend you do, you can check the IRS website. I'll put a link to it below, and not only will it help you prepare the return online in a web browser format, but you can e-file it. And again, that is so very important. You want to be able to e-file the tax return because paper filing, it's going to take a year for it to get processed. So you don't want to go down that path. You want to be e-filing the return. So, okay, so that covers it for this video. I hope that was helpful. I mean, again, if you're seeing this and you contemplated not filing a return because you didn't think you owed anything, really look at your profile and see whether or not you might be eligible for these credits. Because yes, if you don't know anything, you don't have to file. But by filing, you might be able to get some money out of the federal government as part of these programs. So very, very important. Okay, so that covers it. Thanks for watching. Again, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. And I look forward to seeing you again on the next video. Thank you.